Alright, so after arguing with people over the years, after every time I had a dream or decision, it being told to me that I couldn't do it, I couldn't accomplish it, that real men have trade jobs, that real men are strong, emotionless robots, and that's what society wants men to be. But when you step back a bit, men have always had that problem. They think that they can control the world. They think they have the power over every being in the universe. They think that women should bow down to them. They think children should fear them until boys become more men who also try to instill the same belief system. Well, I'm tired of that bullshit. The whole male domination bullshit, the whole women's rights across the world being threatened because old dudes think that they have the right to control everyone's lives, what they do, what they wear, what jobs they want, what they drive, how they drive, because it goes back to the dawn of time. Think about it. Insects, animals, and nature were here first. But then the gods wanted a plaything. Enter the humans. No one knows how we got here, be it aliens, gods, Big Bang, whatever the hell you want to call it. I think it's a fluke. The whole universe has been a fucking fluke. Everyone wants to live on Mars, or the moon, or be Star Trek, but no one knows how to take care of Earth. And that's the problem. No one knows how to take care of Earth. Y'all want to change the drinking age to fit other countries. No, you should change the drinking age to 25 or higher. These kids nowadays should not be drinking alcohol, touching street drugs, because they don't know what the fuck they're fucking doing. Yeah, party, whatever. But too many people are throwing their lives away to drugs and alcohol because that's what they think they need to do. And that's what the world wants. Your politicians, we don't elect them, they elect themselves. The Electoral College, the judicial branch, all that crap. Our votes don't really count. They finalize them. This whole Trump, Pence, Biden, Obama thing and Hillary bullshit only instills my point. They wanted a first black president, but as soon as he got in, they questioned his nationality and his citizenship the whole time he was in office. Then they want to blame him for everything. Why? Because he was a scapegoat. Then, when Trump was running, his VP Pence openly admitted in a roundabout way that he's trying to create a gay holocaust. And now, if you look into it, there's a Supreme Court ruling that hasn't been shown on the news yet or anything yet because they're putting everything online lately. You know why? Because if it's online, then people can say, oh, it's bullshit. Why do you believe it? And that's exactly what they fucking want. We turn to streaming services, we turn to Facebook or YouTube or Twitter or MySpace or whatever fucking thing they're using nowadays, Snapchat, Instagram, and we consume ourselves to technology. Why? Because if we're all glued to technology and the internet, people can say, oh, it's fake news, anything can be put online, and that's exactly what they fucking want. They want us glued to our phones and our tablets so we can be distracted by what they're really trying to fucking pull. Y'all want to think Trump is amazing, so wonderful, but stop back and think of his origin. A rich little spoiled brat who has failed businesses, whose businesses are being investigated, whose Trump University is being investigated, who has Aryan support. Why do they storm the White House? Because of their Trump supporters. Who were most of the people who stormed the White House? Aryan Brotherhood nationalized hillbilly hicks who came out of the woodworks. That only instills my fucking point. Trump's supported by Aryans. He has a weird obsession with his daughter. Biden's a pervert. He got in just because of Kamala. It instills my point, though. People want to set us back histories and centuries again. But what they don't realize is your history books, your Bibles, all your little religious textbooks, how many versions and alterations do you think those fucking things have? Just think about that. Think about that honestly. What were books and stories first? Were they paper? Were they leather? No, they were not. They were dirt, sand, stone, sticks, metal. So you're telling me that kind of shit was translated into books properly? No, it was not. Because you really think English existed all the time? No, it did not. They had Hebrew, there was Sanskrit, there was Normanic language, there was all those Latin, there was all those languages that not many people know how to translate. There was hieroglyphics, there was pictographs, you name it. So you're telling me all that shit was translated into English or other languages properly? By who? Or whom? Think about that one. Who translated this shit? I may have not finished college, but if you go to college, you realize that they're trying to say half the philosophers, half the people in Greek and Roman days who wrote all these amazing stories. They're thinking that it's always been one person who wrote all of them, or multiple writers using pen names or ghost names. And pen names and ghost names have existed for the dawn of time. Nicknames, aliases. Why do you think the government uses them for their spies? Because people with multiple names and identities, and passports, and hair colors, and eye colors, can sneak around. Well, then there was the code breakers, the wind talkers. We used everyone to our advantages. We promised the natives, oh, you help us as our wind talkers. We will stop taking away your land and your rights and blah, 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 blah. Did that happen? No. World War II comes along. We promised the Asians, we'll stop ridiculing you and putting you in camps if you go on secret deadly missions for us. The potato famine, the Irish versus the English, it's been a race problem since the dawn of time. Slavery since the dawn of time. Basic human rights destroyed since the dawn of time. Why? All because of a fucking book. Don't get me wrong, I love books. But then you get these people who ban them and burn them. Why? Because they don't like gays in their stories, or they don't like women being heroes in their stories. It goes back to my point. It's a male-dominated world. And it's going to keep going that way. Rich, old, white men who are close to having heart attacks are being elected left and fucking right. And my theory is going to happen. I know it is. If Trump gets his way, he'll be able to rerun. I guarantee Pence will run against him because he has his own political agenda. I think Hillary will give it one more shot until she realizes she can't get in. And then Biden will give it one more shot. Who do you think is going to be on our next election? Trump, Biden, Pence, and Hillary. It's almost election time, people. Have they announced the candidates yet? No, they have not. Why? Because my theory's probably fucking right. And it's time for this underground activist to take a stand. That's right, I'm an activist. I'm trying to start a revolution. No Bible, no religion, no doctor, no lawyer, no cop, no anyone is going to silence me ever again. You know why? Because I'm done with this shit. You can try justifying underage marriage. You can try justifying the rape of a child or a teen in other countries. But then you want to bring that shit to America. And you want to illegalize it here now. If you think about English, our version of English is based off Sanskrit, Latin, German, Normanic, French, Spanish. The real English is British English, or whatever you want to call it, European English, whatever. And people don't realize that America's the land of the thieves and liars. It's the little child syndrome problem. They have oil, I want it. They have trade, I want it. They have laws that I want to pass, I want it. You can look it up. There's bullshit laws in different states that make no fucking sense. There's bullshit laws in other countries that make no fucking sense. And now this whole setting the world back a year, back a decade. They're making gays fight for their rights again. They're trying to get rid of gay marriage again. They're trying to pass a grooming law. They're trying to fucking blame it on the trans because they're trying to turn the trans against the gays. And they know they can do it. They're using all the alphabet mafia LGBT society and turning them against each other. Why? Because they think it's funny. They think if they turn the LGBT against each other, then they can make people straight again. It goes back to the straight agenda. But what they don't realize is LGBT's been around since the dawn of time. The Spartans, they thought having same sex would make their allegiances better. They would line up dudes in coliseums and make a soldier drain them. And if they didn't, by a certain time, that soldier was killed. It only further instills my point. Other countries, they think drinking freaking sperm gets them closer to their elders. But yet, and I think eating weird shit gives them aphrodisiac sex magic. So it instills my point over and over again. Magic's been existing since the dawn of time. But then you get the religious nutcases who turn magic into Satanism because they don't understand it. The witch doctors, the herbal healers, the shamans, all of them wiped out or put in the underground because people are afraid of what they can do. If it's not from the Bible or Jesus or God or the devil, then it must be evil. And that's the world's problem. God and Jesus are everything good in the world. The devil makes everything bad in the world. But if you stop and think about it, who was here on earth first? Jesus or the devil? Supposedly the devil. Which means there's been a demon uprising since the dawn of time. And since God forced humanity to kill his son over and over again, for what? Our sins? Not for our sins. For the God's sins. Think about it. Every mythological story you read, maybe stop. It shows a god impregnating a mortal, or a god taking advantage of a mortal. Think about it that way. So, if you think about it from a standpoint of this, Zeus, Jesus, similar sounding names. I get people want to believe in one God. But to believe in one God is insanity. Because multiple religions exist. Multiple political parties exist. But if you don't have a party, then they throw you into a party that they think you should be in because everyone should be a political person, right? Wrong. If you don't follow politics, something's wrong with you. You're anti-government. You need to vote. You need to vote. You need to vote. You need to vote. No, you don't have to vote. That is the fucking dawn of time bullshit being forced down your fucking throat where you think you need to vote for these dictators, these fucking monarchs, these tyrannical bullshit idiots. Half of them are pedophiles. Half of them are going to die soon. Half of them are fucking Aryan supporters or have Aryan support. This beheading people who are different, for beheading gays, for all that shit. Okay, so you're okay with killing people because they're gay or LGBT, but you're going to let pedophiles join their community because a pedophile's in the White House? Trump's a pedophile. Biden's a pedophile. They both have... Trump has Aryan support. Biden has dumbass support. Biden's getting people's votes because of fucking stimulus checks. What are stimulus checks going to lead to? Your taxes being fucked up. What is unemployment going to do? They're going to charge you their money back. They're already doing it. So I told my cousin the other day, she lives off the government. I do not. I won't get welfare. I won't get disability or SSI or food stamps because that's just the way of the government telling you how many hours you can work. Jobs already do that enough nowadays. They get all but hurt if you don't want to stay late or come in early. But then they tell you you can't stay late and come in early because your job description doesn't meet the requirements to have overtime. Because jobs don't want to pay overtime. But then once they know you want overtime, they expect it from you. So they can say you're using the company. It's all a bullshit hypocrisy thing. And that's the problem with the world. Hypocrisy, narcissism, and telling people what they can and cannot do because of fear. Fuck fear. You want to be an astronaut? Be a fucking astronaut. You want to be an artist? Be a fucking artist. You want to be a teacher? Be a fucking teacher. You want to be a cook? Be a fucking cook. Don't let your parents or society tell you that all men need trade jobs and all women belong in the kitchen or cooking and cleaning. And that's what the world's trying to pull again. Like my friend Kat just told me. And I've been reading onto it too. This abortion bullshit. Women being arrested for miscarriages and taken from their families. Women being arrested for having abortions. That's just going to keep getting worse. Trump putting Hispanic and Latino and Latina kids in freaking camps And people are trying to say that never happened. Yes, it fucking did. You can look into this shit. These kids were abused. They were separated from their families. They went missing. If you look into it, children go missing in the masses nowadays. Do this Pizzagate bullshit where they think politicians and celebrities are a vampire cult eating people through fucking all this shit. It's all fucking smokescreens. Think about it. The Holocaust, separating families. Trump and his internment camp, separating families. Fucking World War II, with how they use the Asians. With fucking the other wars, where they use the natives. It's all about using people, slavery, and having pawns. But like, okay, think about it. What cultures are usually slaves? Every other culture out there. But then like, okay, how many supposed white slaves have you heard of? And this whole white power bullshit, I'm sorry. If you genetically trace anyone's DNA, no one's white, no one's black, no one's full Asian. I mean, yes, some of them are. Some people are full-blooded or something. But the full-blooded people, they don't exist much anymore. I bet if you trace anyone's DNA nowadays, you're going to find minute traces of other cultures. Usually cultures that they're raised to hate. That only further instills my point. Racism is bullshit. Genetically altering your children is bullshit. So what if your child has a disability? So if they have Down syndrome or autism, or they can't see or hear right, or they don't have the same hair or eye color as you. It's called genetics. Throwback genes. Study science. Actually study science. Look into both sides of history. What we learn in school is one-sided history. College teaches you one side of history. Middle school and high school and elementary school teaches you one side of history. Bible schools, Catholic schools, all that shit teach you history through religion. And they make you go to church and communions and all this crap and make you have extra names and all this other bullshit. And then people making their children have hyphenated last names with last names that are like thousands of characters long. And these poor kids go to school saying, oh, I have 20 different names because that's my culture. And I'm not trying to destroy anyone's culture by any means. But when you try to justify childhood marriage, I don't care what country you're from, to me that's gross. If you try to justify having sex with a minor, I don't care what country you're from, to me that's gross. And it's getting worse because that's coming over here now. They're trying to justify people where 13-year-olds fall for 20-something-year-olds, but then they start dating them when they're in their 16s or 17s, it's okay. But then they don't realize how the relationship really started. It's called grooming. A lot of these teenagers are being groomed into these relationships. And they're blinded by love, blinded by love, blinded by love, until they realize the person they thought they loved was using and abusing them for years. It's sickening. And that's why the grooming law is coming into effect. If this grooming law passes, it'll put more restraints on the LGBT community. They're trying to do LGBT against LGBT. Gays versus trans. Gays versus bis. Gays versus pans and dimmies and all this crap. And now you got this little culture. Okay, I get it. Some people have to wear diapers. Adults, kids, teens, whatever. But then you have the people who want to keep wearing diapers because they think they're called what they're called littles. And they're trying to start this baby community where it's okay for random people to wear diapers in public and binkies and be babies again. Okay, so that's a slap in the face to people who actually need those things or can't surpass those things because of some development that they were born with. It's so, the blurred line with everything lately is getting bad. It's getting horrible. The censorship online, people are posting shit on Facebook, Snapchat, Instagram that's sex-based, that's porn-based. But then you post jokes or prankster stuff with your friends. You're considered sensitive or hurting people's feelings or posting fake news. It only instills my fucking point. So porn and stripping and sexuality can overrun everything, but basic joking around and being yourself gets you censored, saying, oh, you need emotional help. Fucking Facebook tried pulling emotional help on me last night. Why? Because they're censoring shit like left and right. But my friends can post nude art on there, or nude photos or fucking OnlyFans bullshit links on their Instagram and Snapchats and Facebooks. You know what that shit does? It gets people hacked. That OnlyFans shit, when you put these links to porn sites on your Facebook and your Instagrams and your Snapchats, that gets your friends hacked, that gets you hacked. And then Facebook, what do? They don't care if you're hacked. Snapchat doesn't care if you're hacked, neither does Instagram. They tell you, oh, that doesn't go against our standards, so we can't delete this account. Only further instates my point. That's why I got rid of Snapchat, because I fucking think it's stupid. I got rid of Instagram because I got tired of it. And I'm about done with Facebook. This is going to be my final account. I create accounts to fuck with their algorithm. And I've learned their algorithm. I learned a lot about algorithms of social media. Why? Because I studied that shit. I like computer software stuff. I like science. I like art. I like theology, etymology, philosophy, and psychology. So before you tell boys that they have to be trade school men and trade job people, no. Let them be astronauts. Let them be artists. Let them be singers. Let them be musicians. If they're fucking good at it and they can make money off of it, let them try. We're in a TikTok generation. These kids are becoming famous off of the internet now. YouTube, TikTok. I'm not saying that's necessarily a good thing, but it's not a bad thing either. And people want to put them down because they want men to be manly men with trade jobs. They want women to be womanly with womanly jobs. And that's what people don't understand. This sexism bullshit still exists in today's society. Yes, women are becoming politicians, they're able to vote, and all this crap. But now they're setting them back with these abortion laws, with cultures who make their women hide their faces and their bodies, but then the men want to run around half naked and shit. It only goes back to the dawn of time bullshit, where men can show skin and women have to conceal themselves. It's like the tattoo bullshit. Now everybody wants a tattoo. Everybody wants a tattoo that shows. So more jobs are trying to become accepting of it. And then now more jobs are trying to be accepting of the hair color thing and the piercing thing. Why? Because they realize that if they turn people down for that kind of stuff, they're going to lose half of the people in the world is employment. And half of the people are going to end up on the streets because they're afraid to hire people with piercings or tattoos or different hair colors. I had a job interview once back in 2014 that asked for my Facebook password. Why? Because back then, they were trying to try making jobs force you to give out your personal passwords. That law didn't go through. Some jobs didn't realize that. A lot of bullshit laws aren't going to go through. But what law might go through is this grooming law. You straights can think it's a good thing to put gays in their place. Okay, fine. So what if I put you straights in your place? I challenge you, everyone in the world, go online, see how many forums exist where straight dudes confess their gay interactions and attractions under pseudonyms and nicknames and gamer tags and all this other shit, and then tell me that all the men in the world are straight. Then try to tell me all the women in the world are straight. I'm sorry. Half the world experiments with the same sex at least once or twice or more in their life. Half of them go the LGBT route, half of them stay straight, and half of them are closeted to the rest of their lives. But yet people want to target LGBT because of their flags and their... I get it. I don't understand why there's a million of them either. The pans, the A's, the demis. It's getting too hard to understand. One of the reasons I never wanted to come out, I've known since elementary or middle school that I was gay. But I was always raised that gays were sinners or pedos. So I didn't want to be gay. And then my father told me he would disown me. My family said I would die of AIDS. It got worse and fucking worse and worse and worse and worse. Because if a guy's gay, then he's probably a whore. Okay, so just because a guy's confused or gay, he's a whore, doesn't fucking work that way. It just instills the fact that men, when they have sex, they're praised. But women, they're trashed. If gays have sex, they're trashed. It goes back to the whole male white power bullshit. And that is getting ridiculous. This Aryan bullshit. Like, I'm watching Sons of Anarchy. I know I'm behind people. I don't care. I'm almost done with season 2. I'm on the last episode. I don't think I can force myself to finish this show. The whole Aryan drama they added to it only instills my fucking point. That Aryans and race are a huge problem. In this show, it's a race war. Hispanics and blacks and Asians and whites and Aryans versus each other. It's like a biker soap opera. And it only further instills my fucking point. Look at TV nowadays, internet, movies, anything you name it. Tell me how many men are dominating these roles. Then tell me how many of these men are white. That further instills my fucking point. Sexism still exists in everything. White power bullshit exists in everything. They're giving certain people certain roles to slap them in the face because of their race or their culture or their gender. And I think it's funny. These shows that are only one culture, only one pop color, because people are too afraid to be ethnic. They're too afraid of the cultural things. Well, newsflash, people, you're all ethnic. You're all cultural. It goes back to genetics. Your DNA. Do your heritage checks. Do your online history checks. Make sure they're factual. Half of the human population is either A, related to one another through blood, marriage, or some genetic code that predates the dawn of time. This whole Adam and Eve thing, okay, if that's real, then technically everybody in the world's related to each other. So the whole universe, or the whole planet, is in one form or another incest. Now go back to the dawn of time. If there was one Adam and Eve, then where do other cultures come from? Which only instills my other point. I don't think Adam and Eve are the first people on Earth. I don't think Eden was the first place on Earth. Because Earth was created. It's a huge planet. But yet, they only focus on one part of it in the Bible. The parts where Jesus existed, the parts where the Middle East existed, the parts where all these societies don't exist anymore. But it's a huge planet. Y'all thought the Earth was flat at one point. But yet you want to believe Adam and Eve were the first humans on this planet? Just because a book tells you that? What if they weren't the first people on this planet? What if there was others? Y'all want to believe in aliens and demons and ghosts and goblins and all that crap. But you want to say witchcraft is evil. I'm sorry to tell you, witchcraft is very much real. And you amateurs, and you people who want to turn it into Satanism, you need to realize. You can burn us on a stake. You can drown us. You can stone us. But witches are here to stay. We're healers. I do nature magic. I do healing magic. I study trees and plants to see what causes their infections, what causes their diseases. There's a silent tree killer called blight. I thought it was a myth. Blight is very much real. What blight is it mirrors the effect of a forest fire. So say you look at a plant. Oh, you think it's been set on fire. No. Look closer. If you study fungi and algae and all those kind of things, blight is a fungus. It doesn't hurt people or animals, but it's a silent tree killer. It mirrors the effect of a dying leaf or a burnt leaf. So people just say, oh, it's just fall, or it's just overheated from the sun, or someone set it on fire. No. Plants can spread diseases to each other, just like animals can spread diseases to each other, just like people can spread diseases to each other. What happens if all the plants die, or the bees die? What does that leave Earth? Your oxygen, your carbon dioxide, monoxide, all that crap, the shit you breathe in, all of it, it goes bye-bye. It goes kaput. So if you exterminate the bees, the plants, the animals, what are you going to eat? Humans? Because that's all you're going to have left is humans to eat. So stop and think for a minute. You keep trying to get rid of all the animals and insects in the world. That's going to make you a fucking vegetarian. But if the plants all get poisoned, or poisoning each other, or getting poisoned by people, then that leaves us only people, or metal, or dirt to eat, or wires, or other weird shit. Call me a nutcase all you want. Call me a conspiracy person all you want. But like I tried telling doctors and shrinks, I'm partially psychic. My dreams are about natural disasters, people going missing, genocides, in the end days, or dreams that I can't wake up from. They're called sleep paralysis, night terrors, insomnia. I have dreams where I stop breathing. I stop breathing in my sleep. But doctors are like, oh, it's not sleep apnea. Yeah, it fucking is. It's sleep apnea and having bad sinuses, which I have both. I also have insomnia, night terrors, and night paralysis. I sleepwalk, I sleep talk. If you truly study psychology, there are several dozen or more sleep disorders I've never heard of. Narcolepsy, cataplexy. The list goes on. It digs into speech disorders, spelling and writing disorders, auditory disorders. And that's what people need to understand. I learned through my studies that the baseline diagnosis for people since the dawn of time was bipolar schizophrenia. Autism didn't always exist. Down syndrome didn't always exist. None of it always existed. Why? Because since the dawn of time, all they knew about was mood swings and hearing voices. So that became their baseline for everything nowadays. But then psychology came along, and science came along, and medicine advanced. And then now people are learning that there's speech disorders, there's auditory disorders, there's hearing disorders, there's spelling disorders, you name it. And half these people say, oh, it's all in your head. Your kid doesn't have that. They don't have this. Yes, they do. But pumping them full of meds to make them hyper or zombies isn't the way to go. Most of my friends don't know I have siblings. Most of my friends don't know what state I'm from. Most of my friends don't know jack shit about me except for what I post online. Why? Because I have trust issues since the day I was born. I have social issues, social anxiety. I hate crowds. I hate people. I don't like public speaking. I don't like being on a stage. I shut down. I get nervous. I black out. I used to black out a lot as a child. I never knew what caused it until I got older. And my father said he used to black out a lot as a child too. And my grandma said they didn't know what caused his problems either. You guys are all quick to think someone's on drugs, or someone's a pedo, or a pervert, just because they're not sex-crazed maniacs. Newsflash, people, there's more to life than sex. I get the Bible and politicians and the world tells you and God tells you that we're here to have children and populate the earth. I hate to tell you, newsflash, I refuse to bring a child into this world. This world sickens me. Racism is a problem nowadays. Homophobia, transphobia is a problem nowadays. Pedos trying to enter the gay community is a problem nowadays. Pedophiles entering the White Houses. Pedophile priests. Pedophile Vaticans. Pedophile everything. They're all coming out of the fucking woodworks. Why? Because the government's trying to make it sound okay for them to exist. That it's a mental illness. It is not a mental illness. Being sexually attracted to teens and kids is fucking wrong. But people want to call it a mental illness because other cultures and countries, they support that shit. It goes back to underage marriage, underage sex. Other countries try to justify having sex with minors because of their bullshit laws. They try justifying marrying minors because of their bullshit laws. So what is the US trying to do? They're trying to be the same fucking way. The US is supposed to be better, but it started off as a lie. The natives got their lands taken away from them. But we aren't the only one who took lands away from people. Look at Mexico, South America, Central America. Who do you think were there first? The Incans, the Mayans, the Aztecs, and all the other ones that I can't think of the names of at the moment. The natives were in the Americas first, not the Europeans, not the anyone's. And what happened? The Europeans came along. The Spanish came along. The blah, 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 blah came along. And they took their land, their gold, their fortune, their riches. It goes back to the Holocaust days, where people take away religion, names. And that's been the hugest problem since the dawn of time. Our names are taking away. Religions are taking away. Possessions are taking away. Why? Because of the mine mentality of the world. They have oil, me wanty. They have trade, me wanty. They have this, me wanty. They have better things over here, me wanty. Me gonna trade with them, then bomb them if I don't get my way. That's the world's problem. If they don't get what they want, they resort to bombing. I think it's bullshit. You can't bomb your way out of everything. You can't war your way out of everything. You can't sign fake peace treaties and then go back on these fake peace treaties. And you justify it through trade, territory, oil. And it's bullshit. It's the whole me wanty of society problem. Greed, power, corruption, money, tyranny, dictatorship, megalomaniac, whatever you want to call it. I'm done with it. Y'all want a one world power, one world religion. You want basic human rights destroyed. You want to destroy everything. Your Declaration of Independence, I think, should be rewritten. They should rewrite it as anyone can vote when they're 18 or over. It should be rewritten as only ones who cannot vote are the felons, like it is anyway. Like, I think a lot of things should be rewritten in the better sense of the way. I think we should take a step back and realize this male-dominated world needs to stop. Treating women like they're 1950s, 1930s, 1800s fucking dawn of time housewives needs to stop. Treating kids like they're your playthings, your things to abuse, to use as pawns for money, or to torment your exes, or shit like that needs to stop. Don't take away dreams. Don't take away people's fantasies. Because you never know what dreamer or person stuck in their own head may change the world. Your kid who wants to embrace music and has a gift for it, let them do it. Your kid who has a gift for art and wants to embrace them, let them do it. Your child wants to work for NASA, support that shit. They want to be a military person the rest of their life, support that shit. As long as they're not turning into a drug dealer or a drug addict or living prostitution and shit like that, then you should let your child have whatever fantasy they want. If I have a kid and they have a bully, I'll teach them how to fucking fight. I'll teach them how to defend themselves. You know why? Because even though I'm a pacifist, I still study martial arts. I don't have a sensei or anyone. I've been teaching myself martial arts through, ironically enough, karate movies and visual pictures on the internet. I've been teaching myself sword fighting and stick fighting. Why? Because I've been using my imagination since I was born. I may look like a flimsy, skinny, anorexic drug addict. Oh, buddy, no. I've been training myself to be a warrior since I was a child. Why? Because I was born in the wrong time period. I would have made a great Middle Earth person. I would have made a great medieval day person. Why? Because that's the shit that I love. I love any kind of music. I love any kind of stories. Why? Because I have an open mind. I'll read anything. I'll listen to anything. Why? Because it's called having an open mind. Even if you don't like it, even if you have an opinion and you hate it, it's okay to hate something. It's okay to hate people. But what isn't okay is to judge disabled people. Judge people based on their race, on things they can't fucking control. It goes back to my point. Genetics. You can't fuck with genetics. No matter how much you fucking try. This test tube bullshit, this altering your child's DNA before they're born, this plastic surgery bullshit, people thinking they need makeup to hide their flaws. All through middle school and high school, I had the worst acne. People called me mono. People called me everything under the sun. They said I had acne because I was raped, or that they thought I was raped. They thought I had acne because I had mono. All through high school, I heard proactive, being shouted at me all the time. I developed a bowel disorder in high school when I was 15, and I was a smelly kid all through fucking high school. My father got cancer in high school. So yeah, my grades fell apart. My life fell apart. You know why? Because the only man in the world who I wanted to fucking care about me, who I wanted in my fucking life, treated me like crap. And y'all want to call me, I'm living in the past? No. You don't understand it unless A, you buried a parent, or B, that said parent made your life a living hell. A child should not have to fight for their parents' approval or their love. They shouldn't have to fight to have a parent in their life. And then when that parent starts feeling vulnerable or sick, that's when their view on their child changes? No. That's bullshit. My dad waited until he had cancer to try to be nice with me. So I tried being nicer to him. But in the long run, I keep telling myself, I wasn't the son he wanted. He can tell all these bullshit lies how he was proud of me, how he loved me. I know the truth. He put me through hell. I watched him torment his girlfriends. I watched him throw them against walls, throw clocks at them, throw things at each other. I watched him and his ex before he passed nearly try to kill each other. I watched him fucking force alcohol down her throat because he thought it was funny. And he did this all in front of her child. I watched this woman throw her son against the kitchen floor and laugh at him. I'm tired of people abusing their kids no matter what age they are. So no, don't justify human sex trafficking. Don't justify sex trade. Don't justify pedophiles. Don't justify underage marriage. I don't care what your country is or your culture is. It's fucking bullshit. If you're going to force drugs and alcohol on anyone, no matter what their age, for sex or amusement or to kill them, then you're a shithole person in my mindset. If you're going to disown your child for being disabled or gay, then you're a shithead person in my mindset. If you're a deadbeat parent but want to pity party yourself, you're a shithead in my opinion. But if you're going to fight to be in your child's life, if you're going to fight to make sure your child has a better life, a better future, then you're A-okay in my book. I may not have kids, but if I do ever have them, I will raise them to be warriors, to know that this world will eat them up and spit them out unless they know how to defend themselves, unless they know how to treat people better. My kid ever gets bullied, I will teach them how to defend themselves. If words don't work, use actions. I will send my kids home to school in fucking suits of armor and shit and tell them, show the bully you aren't afraid of them. My view set is, if people get on your nerves, get on their nerves too. If people make you feel uncomfortable, make them feel uncomfortable too. My way of dealing with people, since I am bad with people, is I talk their ears off until they leave me alone. Or I treat them the same way they treat me. They want to make fun of me, I'll make fun of them. They want to push my buttons, I'll push their buttons. Why? Because I'm damn fucking good at it. People think just because I like the Riddler, I'm a bad guy. No. Sometimes the villains make more sense. I've always voted for the underdog, the sidekick, the one no one ever pays attention to. Like in Aladdin, the carpet, the monkey, the tiger, the genie, Hercules, the Pegasus, Hades, because to me, they were more understanding characters. And when I watch Marvel, I laugh my head off because I study Norse mythology. And they so fucked up Norse mythology in Marvel. I'm sorry. They fucked up Norse mythology so bad. Hela, from what I understand, is supposed to be Loki's daughter, not Odin's daughter. There's supposed to be Finwë in there, which is Loki's child, because Loki is a shapeshifter, and he has animal children. That's not represented in Marvel, really. Loki's and Thor's parentage is somewhat represented properly, but not entirely. But yeah, I study mythology. The way Hercules is represented in stories, he's a demigod. Disney made him a full-blood god. That's what I'm trying to instill in people. Y'all use comics to base off why you hate hero movies. I use mythology to base off why I hate movies. Because if they don't get the mythological storyline right, then it's stupid to me. It goes back to people making film critics and food critics. Everyone's a critic. Everyone has judgment and hate inside them. But I believe people have a dual soul, good and bad. The balance, the grayscale, the yin and yang, Taoism, Buddhism. If you study those things, it will open up your mind way more than Catholicism and Christianity ever will. Yes, I was born Roman Catholic, but as I got older, Taoism and Buddhism and the wisdom of the natives made more sense to me. My spirit animals are the fox and the eagle. The eagle came to me in a dream where I was flying with the eagle with no wings. The fox has always been my guide. Do y'all want to think the fox is a trickster? No. If you look into it, the fox gets you out of tricky situations. But movies depict the fox as evil. The fox is not evil. The fox helps you get out of tricky situations. But the fox can also trick you into those situations. So yeah, the fox is a trickster in its own right. But sometimes it helps you in its tricky ways. That's why I love foxes so much. That's why I like animals so much. Animals are pure of heart. They have one voice. They growl. They make noise. They have claws or teeth or fins or gills or scales or whatever the fuck they have. Or if they're insects, they have shells and slime and other crap. Or they secrete poisons and shit. Why? Because animals have their own ways of defending themselves. So do insects. Same with humans. We have the same thing. But we have weapons that can actually cause pain and destruction. And that's what the world's problem is. Causing pain and destruction. Y'all don't realize this animal testing, this human lab testing, all this crap. It makes you no better than Hitler. Hitler did human testing. So he experimented on twins. He experimented on a lot of things. But what people also don't realize is Hitler also experimented with science and magic. Where do you think the basis for Hydra came from? Hydra is loosely based off of Hitler in his mentality. Why do you think Harry Potter has been targeted over the years? You know what Voldemort in his view set's based off of? In his Death Eaters? It's based off of Hitler's and the Nazis. Why do you think a lot of countries ban Harry Potter? Because they know what J.K. Rowling based the Death Eaters and Voldemort off of. Is Hitler and the Nazis. That, and a lot of people see it as a pervy old dude chasing a teenage boy around, which it kind of is. But that's what people don't understand. If you look into Narnia, they're saying that Aslan's supposed to be Jesus. A lot of people who don't believe in Jesus are shocked by that. But it makes sense though. The sons of Adam, the daughters of Eve, and Jesus is supposed to be a lion? And Jesus' animal is supposed to be the lion? And then there's the Lion King. And I mean, that's what I like about movies and books and music, because there's subtle hints to a lot of things over the years. Hidden messages, everything that I find fascinating. Like Stephen King. His book has a lot of psychics and demons. And a lot of the time the heroes are children. Why? Because they say animals and children are the pure souls in the universe. Why is that? Because their minds are open to everything. They're sponges. They can see things that adults usually can't. But as we get older, the corruption takes over. Ghosts and goblins and demons and angels and all that stuff, you can't really see those. That's a figment of your imagination. If you see those, you're schizophrenic. No. If you can see a ghost, it doesn't make you schizophrenic. If you can see an angel or a demon, it just means you have a sixth sense. Your third eye is very much awoken. And that's what I've been doing my whole life, is waking up my third eye. If you look into it, you can look up beats and sounds and stories and research how to open your third eye, how to channel your chakras, how to open and unlock your mind. There's so many movies nowadays where people who unlock their full potential are capable of so much. And I even say those who have more pure intentions and pure hearts can do it as well. So yeah, I practice abstinence because I was born Roman Catholic and because I don't do well with human interaction. The whole sexual aspect never interested me. I've always known that as a kid. But yes, I've always known that I liked guys more. And other people noticed that too. And they tried taking advantage of it. And that's one of the reasons I don't want to be openly gay. I don't want to date guys. Because in my view set, yes, I'm a guy, but most men, to me, are asinine jackasses. All consumed with the male domination problem. And most women, they're just as bad as men. They'll use you and abuse you and break your heart just as bad as men will. So I'd rather stay single. I've dated both sides. And I've seen the ugly, the good, the bad of both genders. Just because I only had intercourse once and didn't care for it, and just because I don't have kids, doesn't mean I don't know you should raise your child, how you should treat a child. People always tell me I'm good with kids, but I don't want to have a job with kids. I thought I wanted to be a teacher. I see the shit teachers have to deal with nowadays. I thought I wanted to be a camp counselor or a guidance counselor or a child psychologist. But then I realized nowadays, anyone who works around kids too much can be seen as, oh, he prefers being around kids more than adults. Something's wrong with him. Or if a guy wants to date a woman that has kids, oh, he only goes after women that have kids. No, sometimes men can't have kids. Sometimes women can't have kids. Why do you think a lot of men and women become step parents and eventually actual parents? Because A, they either can't have kids or they never had a chance to have kids. And they meet someone who gives them that opportunity. My ex, no matter what her and I went through, no matter how much we might hate each other right now, we started off as friends. We met at the age of 10. We were told by her family and my family we would end up together. But as we got older, we realized we're better off as friends because both our view sets on how we should raise children are totally different. And we realized we were better off as just friends. And because I thought I had a crush on her sister. But then I realized it wasn't a crush. It was because her sister and I got along better than my actual girlfriend and I did. And then I realized it all dawned on me. Kelly had more feelings for me than I had for her. And I realized that over the years. So before you call a guy a pussy or gay, stop and think. Humans experiment with the same gender through kiss or touch or somehow once or twice in their life, whether they know it or not. But yes, it doesn't make them gay or lesbian. It just means they're curious. And that's what I'm trying to tell people. I'm not trying to force a gay agenda or anything like that. I'm trying to open up people's minds to the fact that we're humans. We're all curious. And just because I'm asexual, yeah, I still get the same feelings and urges all humans do. But I just don't like acting on them because I'm not into intercourse. And that's okay. That doesn't mean you're into animals or plant sex or into child sex. That's what pisses me off. Asexuality is not that. Asexuality is meaning point blank. You can still be sexually attracted or aroused by someone, but you don't want to actually act on that. And people see that as, oh, you must like animals, plants, or kids then. Okay, how the fuck do you get that out of shit? That's just like people saying all gays are pedophiles. No. Pedophiles target teens and children. Point fucking blank. Why? Because it goes back to underage marriage and underage sex being allowed around the world. So the US is trying to make it legal as well. I'm an underground activist. I'm a pacifist. But I study martial arts. I study what I can when I can. And yes, I know the internet lies, the news lies. But guess what? What doesn't lie is a person's eyes. And I know for a fact that all this shit about Trump is real. I know all of it's real. his putting kids in camps, his Aryan support is real. But the problem is, Trump is trying to get reelected. And if you guys reelect Trump, then I'm done. I will leave the US because you all can keep your Aryan leader. I don't want him.